All right, we are live. All right, so UFC 318 tonight. Main card is mainly what I'm focused on. We're going to talk about the prelims a little bit. The prelims have been really good, actually. I've been pretty impressed with a lot of these fights. Even the last one that we just saw was that Francisco Prado versus Nikolai Veretennikov. Pretty good fight, split decision. Veretennikov with the victory. That was a pretty good fight. Let's see, on the YouTube side, let me transition over so you guys can see what I'm looking at too. But Veretennikov with the victory, split decision victory, and there was times it looked like Prado was going to pull it off. Veretennikov was able to fend off the grappling in the last couple of rounds, but a lot of mistakes made. He jumped on a guillotine late in the fight. And about mid, I'd say that was pretty late in that third round. Robert Valentine versus Ateba Gauthier. I didn't catch that one live, but I went back and watched it in the middle of the Veretin. Man, that was a finish. That was he absolutely beat him pillar to post. From the opening bell. Really, very quick stoppage. I think it was either right over a minute or under a minute. But knockout of the night so far has to be Islam Dulatov over Adam Fugit. I thought that was a wild knockout. Dulatov, man, he came in, he did his thing. Very solid. I think it was a left hand that dropped him and knocked him out. It was a hook. I can't remember if it was left or right, but it was a hook. Jimmy Crute, big armbar. I didn't know if he was going to be able to get it for a minute. Jimmy Crute with he went belly down for a minute on the armbar, and I didn't realize he had retired. It feels like the last couple of weeks we've had some guys that haven't been around for a little bit. Felt like it was a weird fight. I'm trying to remember Njokuani last week, who he fought. Another Australian, Jake Matthews. Jake Matthews whooped him pretty quick in that fight. Jake Matthews looked very good. Jimmy Crute as well tonight looks very, very good. Ryan Spann, he gets a quick victory, 247 into the very first round over Brzezinski, which it felt like Polish fighters got set up back-to-back fights. I did not catch either of the first two fights. I caught like the very tail end of Bruno Ferreira beating Jackson McKeevy. I didn't even see it, but we'll see. We'll see what the main card brings. I feel like the prelims have been very, very good so far. We've had, I think the first fight also a finish. Carly Judas getting a finish over Nicole Caleri. So we've already got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 finishes tonight. And if this main card, I think we're going to see some more finishes. We're definitely going to see some fireworks. I think Michael Johnson and Daniel Zellhuber is going to be a banger. Patricio Pitbull against Dan Ige. Like two guys, especially Dan Ige. Dan Ige likes to brawl. Kevin Holland versus Daniel Rodriguez. Another one. Should be a brawling matchup. Paulo Costa versus Roman Kopylov, I think, is the most interesting fight stylistically on this card in the co-main event, just because I feel like Kopylov is a little more timid, and we'll see how they fight each other. But I think styles make fights, and I think that's going to be a very interesting matchup between those two. And then of course we got the main event. Dustin Poirier makes his final walk to the octagon this evening, and I do think that that one is obviously, we saw it in the second fight. It's going to be fireworks in that fight. So let's go through. We got 2 more prelims left tonight in this last hour before the main card. And we have Marvin Vettori versus Brendan Allen. Kyler Phillips versus Vinicius Oliveira. Marvin Vettori versus Brendan Allen is going to be interesting. Number 10 versus number 11. That middleweight division is just always hit or miss, I feel like. And then a bantamweight bout with Kyler Phillips and Vinicius Oliveira. So I don't know. What do you guys thought about the prelims? If you guys have caught any this evening, seems like the prelims have been very good so far. From what I have watched, like I said, I missed the first couple, but outside of that, I mean, very good fights. Everybody's getting after it and going for the finish tonight, and I think we'll see that as we go along. Michael Johnson versus Daniel Zellhuber. Now, I'm gonna say I'm a Michael Johnson fan. Obviously, he's from Missouri. Very up and down career. Really, it felt like at one point he could maybe be a title challenger, but obviously now at this point, I think he's pushing 40 or is 40. I'm not sure exactly. Zellhuber made a big deal out of it, and it reminds me of Cowboy versus Alex. I cannot remember his last name. But that was, I don't know, maybe 5-6 years ago. Very same kind of vibe going in. You have a new up-and-comer in the lightweight division challenging somebody that's, established, been in the UFC for a long time. Michael Johnson, 10 wins by knockout, 2 by submission, 8 first-round finishes, 24-19 in his career. Man, very up and down career for Michael Johnson. I'm trying to see if there's the... He's on a 2-fight win streak, though. February of 2024. And what was his last fight? Back in December of 24, he also fought. And one of them a decision, and then he got a finish in his very last fight. So, I don't know. Interesting fight. I'm not sure... I know I've seen Zellhuber fight, but I don't remember. I know it was back at Noche on that card. Ribovic's split decision, that was Noche. Which looked like he had quite some time off before that in Zellhuber. So we'll see. I think they're going to scrap. I think it's going to be a good fight. I'm gonna take Zellhuber in this fight. I think that he ends up beating Michael Johnson. Like I said, Michael Johnson's had such an up and down career that with him being on a 2-fight win streak, although Zellhuber might have awoken the beast essentially in Michael Johnson, just because he was very that press conference, he was very animated, which I feel like I haven't seen out of Michael Johnson in quite some time. See if I can get there we go. Then we got Dan Ige versus Patricio Pitbull. Patricio Pitbull came in against Yair Rodriguez in his last fight. It was his UFC debut, of course, and that did not go his way, but I think a very tough matchup, all in all, for Patricio Pitbull in his very first fight in the UFC, coming over from Bellator, of course. There we go. I was trying to get my mouse back over here. But Patricio Pitbull, he is a plus 140 dog right now. Dan Ige is the favorite. I think Pitbull ends up winning this fight, though. I'm going Pitbull in this one. I think that Pitbull will be smart enough. Ige is obviously going to try to probably draw him into a brawl, but I think that Pitbull will be smart enough to be patient, wait to see if he can finish the fight at some point. But I think that he'll be patient. I feel like he was pretty patient in the fight against Yair. So I think that Patricio Pitbull pulls this one out, gets his first UFC victory. Then we have Kevin Holland versus Daniel Rodriguez. And what's going to be, I think, a really good fight, too. I think both of these guys are going to go in here and throw down. Kevin Holland, who, I don't know, another dude with a very interesting career, right? I think Daniel Rodriguez is kind of on the up and up at the moment, which I don't think that he's young either. Feels like he hasn't been in the UFC for very long. Wins over he lost to Kelvin Gastelum. Back-to-back wins in his last 2 fights. He did have that finish over Ponzinibbio that was very, very good in the 3rd round. That was back in May So fairly quick turnaround, and obviously very quick turnaround for Kevin Holland, as he just fought at UFC 317, I do believe. Had that fight against MVP not too long ago as well. Or am I thinking of somebody else? Because I don't see. DeRitter finished him with a submission. He beats Nelson. Luque, that was the fight back in June. So yeah, just a month of turnover for Kevin Holland. That's kind of crazy. But Kevin Holland, I feel like, never really has taken... I mean, he's about making the money, right? I don't think he's really taken his career very serious. He's really jumped in. Yeah, he did fight MVP. That was in March of 2024, and he's already fought 5 times since last March. That's insane. Already just this year alone, this will be Kevin Holland's 4th fight. But I don't know. Kevin Holland says he's trying to make a run at a title, and we'll see if he can do that. Obviously, tonight is going to be a big step with Daniel Rodriguez. I don't know if Rodriguez is ranked. Daniel Rodriguez is not ranked, but Kevin Holland is 13th in the division. I'm going to take Kevin Holland. I think Kevin Holland is rejuvenated. You know, like I said in the Ponzinibbio fight, he said that he was, really trying to make a run at the belt. He's getting older. I mean, I think he's pushing almost 40 at this point. So I do think that, there's going to be a sense of urgency tonight, which is going to make for a great fight between Daniel Rodriguez and Kevin Holland. And then we have Paulo Costa versus Roman Kopylov in the co-main event of the night. Looks like Vettori and Allen are about to finish up their first round. They got a striking battle going on. Vettori does not look good. He is all busted up. Looks like Brendan Allen is getting the best of him. I haven't been paying attention to it, but it looks like Vettori is getting busted up in this first round at the moment. So, co-main event, though, Paulo Costa versus Roman Kopylov. Kopylov is coming off of that kind of weird win over Chris Curtis. I wanted to say Sean Strickland, training partner. But, the kind of a weird win. There was 2 seconds left in the fight. He had that weird head kick on Chris Curtis that Chris Curtis dropped him but didn't knock him out. And the ref ran over and just called the fight. So, I don't know. That was a weird ending. I tried to go back and rewatch that fight, but I could not figure out how to. I couldn't get it on ESPN Plus. I couldn't get it on Fight Pass either. So, I did go back and watch some of Kopylov's other fights. Like I said, he's, definitely a striker more so, but I do feel he's kind of just timid. And I think that might kind of, really help out Paulo Costa, where Paulo Costa is a little bit more aggressive in his approach. Good striker. Good ground game. I mean, Paulo Costa is very well-rounded. And he's trying to get back into the title mix. We got Khamzat Chimaev challenging for the belt next, and he wants Chimaev. And that one is a weird fight because I feel like Dricus, every fight I go into thinking that Dricus is probably going to lose. And, it's like the meme where, what'd they say? Dricus can't, Dricus is supposed to lose every fight on paper, but Dricus can't read. So, I don't know what to think about that matchup against Chimaev because I think Khamzat is better almost in every aspect of the game, but I don't know. Some reason Dricus just very, very well-rounded fighter, and it feels like every fight is weird that DDP is in. Where, like, the Adesanya fight, that was like the weirdest fight ever with Adesanya and DDP. But when he got that takedown, it was like he fell down and took down Adesanya all at the same time. Paulo Costa coming off of a loss. He hasn't fought since June of last year. He lost a split decision to Sean Strickland. And now fighting Kopylov. He's coming off of 2 straight losses. He also lost back in February of 2024. And that was a unanimous decision loss to Robert Whittaker. And before that, you have to go all the way back to August of 2022 for Paulo Costa's last win. So I do think that a win here does kind of push him back up in the rankings. He lost to Vettori as well. Paulo Costa's got some real questionable losses on his record. Okay. It's the first time I've done a live on TikTok. So, I don't know. Still learning this process over here. But also live over on YouTube and Twitch. Let's see. So, going back to Paulo Costa, though. I think Costa, this is like the perfect opportunity for him to get a victory against Roman Kopylov. Kopylov, I just don't love his fighting style, honestly. And I don't know. Like, we're going to see tonight if he can beat a true top 15er and push him up into that upper echelon. Because now, I mean, that makes me want to see. Let's look at the middleweight rankings really quick. Because the middleweight division, I don't know, and it seems like it's always been like this, but it's just kind of a crapshoot. So you have, obviously, DDP's the champ. Khamzat Chimaev is ranked at number 3. He's challenging for the belt next. Then you got Imavov at number 1 currently. Sean Strickland at 2. Adesanya at 4, who just got finished by Imavov. Then Whitaker at 5. Barrio at 6. Cannonier at 7. Dolidze at 8. Anthony Hernandez at 9. Vettori, which is actually kind of fascinating, that Vettori and Allen are currently fighting on the prelims, but are higher ranked than the co-main event of the evening in Kopylov and Costa. Costa's at 13, Kopylov is at 14. But I think it also goes to show, I mean, Paulo Costa is a name that I think a lot of people recognize. I think whether you're a hardcore fan or, you know, semi-casual, you recognize Paulo Costa's name just because he's been up there with, you know, all of these top middleweights over the last few years or so fighting these guys. I mean, he fought for the belt against Adesanya. He fought Yoel Romero. He's fought Robert Whitaker. So, I mean, he's been around with a lot of these guys that are at the top of the card already. So, Kopylov, a big chance for him to get a win and really push himself up into that upper echelon of middleweights. I am going to take Paulo Costa in this fight. He is a plus 200 dog to a minus 245 favorite of Roman Kopylov. I don't know. I don't know if I believe in Kopylov's style after watching a few of his fights. We'll see. Good striker, though. But I wonder if Paulo Costa would be able to, you know, use his grappling against Kopylov more so. So, to the main event of the evening, we have Max Holloway versus Dustin Poirier. Looks like my stream froze over here. Of the prelims, at least. Trying to check out what exactly is going on. Like I said, it looked like Vettori was getting beat up in this first fight. Or this second to last fight of the prelims. Also got a crazy night combat sports-wise. I saw Clarissa Shields and Manny Pacquiao are both fighting tonight. So a lot of star power this Saturday night. Max Holloway versus Dustin Poirier. Clarissa Shields is back in the ring boxing. And Manny Pacquiao is out of retirement boxing as well. Let's see. Oh, the main card is not started. I don't know why it wants me to watch the main card. There we go. I want to see where this fight went. I'm interested in how this affects the rest of the middleweight division between this Vettori and Allen fight. And I guess I didn't realize that. I didn't look over the card that close or, you know, close enough to realize that Allen and Vettori are actually ranked ahead of both Costa and Kopylov, who are the co-main. And then you've got Allen and Vettori, who are the co-main event of the prelims. I mean, if you will, co-main event of the prelims. Let's see, they are back in, I'm assuming we're in the third round now. I don't know what happened with the website here. Yeah, still live. They're in the third round of that fight. So main event of the evening, Max Holloway versus Dustin Poirier. The second time they fought, first time they fought at 145 pounds, second time they fought at 155 pounds, where it felt like Poirier just kind of looked like he was a little bit bigger, already adjusted to the weight class, and I think he'd already kind of like put the weight on to be at 155 pounds, and Holloway didn't really look like he belonged at 155 pounds in the second fight as much, just because it was like every time Poirier hit Holloway, it felt like it was definitely more impactful than when Holloway was tagging Poirier. So I think this third fight where Holloway's been at 155 pounds now a few times, I want to say the Poirier fight was in the middle of that. Yeah, because he's coming off of the Poirier loss. They fought Poirier at 145 pounds back in October of last year. Then before that, of course, in April, UFC 300, the last-second knockout over Gaethje. Then you go back to August to the Chan Sung Jung Korean Zombie fight that he finished him in the third round of Korean Zombie's retirement fight. So, I don't know. Holloway is used to being in this position of getting guys out of here in their last fight, right? He did it on the road against Chan Sung Jung, so I'm pretty sure that was... Now I can't remember where it was. I want to say it was in South Korea? Or Singapore. Yeah, that fight was in Singapore, where he beat Chan Sung Jung. Knocked him out. I watched that fight earlier today again on the UFC stream that they had of, just playing fights from all the fighters on the card. I don't know. I got to rock with the diamond, though. So I wore the Diamond Supply hat for this. I got to rock with the diamond in this matchup. Either way, I mean, we're going to get one hell of a fight. I don't really want to see either of these guys lose. Obviously, it's Dustin Poirier's last fight. He's doing it at home in New Orleans. I think he's got he wants to leave with that belt. He never technically got the undisputed belt. He won the interim gold, which, either way, you cannot take that away from him, where Poirier won that interim gold, and that was against Max Holloway. Now he wants to take this BMF belt and ride off into the sunset, which... I don't know, man. I think he's got it tonight. I think just the home crowd, so Lil Wayne's walking him out as well. I think it's going to be just a very fun, very good fight. And the fans win in this one, I think. I think we all win in this fight tonight. And you're really throughout the prelims already. I mean, I feel like cards like this where like you feel the energy early on, like if you watch the prelims and go through it, we know the kind of fighters that we have on the main card later, and these guys are willing to brawl. Guys like Dan Ige, Holloway versus Poirier. We already saw it from them in their second fight. Like we know what these guys are coming to do, and they're gonna throw down. And like I said, the fans win. The fans are gonna win in this fight no matter what. So I'm not gonna be upset seeing either one of these guys win, but I just feel like Poirier at home in this in New Orleans in this fight, he's gonna walk away with that BMF tonight. So we'll see how we do tonight. Done pretty good in these last couple. I've went live for both 316 and 317, and I feel like we did pretty good on the predictions. So just a quick rundown before we finish up. I'm going to watch this last little bit before this main card starts. As right now, looks like Vettori and Allen is getting ready to come to an end. Allen's got a little bit of damage, a little bit of blood on top of his nose, but Vettori really looks like he's been beat up in this fight. I haven't paid attention to it much just because, obviously I've been going over the main card, but we'll see. I got 20 seconds left in the fight right now, but... we're going Zellhuber in the first fight against Michael Johnson. Patricio Pitbull to win over Dan Ige. Kevin Holland to get the victory over Daniel Rodriguez to make it 3 straight for him. Paulo Costa gets back in the win column in my prediction for the first time since 2022. And then in the main event, even Dustin Poirier, I'm going with the victory over Max Holloway to retire as the BMF. Looks like we're going to get just a minute before we see, obviously waiting for the official of this second to last prelim fight, because we still have one more. Kyler Phillips versus Vinicius Oliveira. If I can get out of here. Try to see what is going on with any of these boxing matchups. I haven't looked at them or paid attention to see when any of them start or anything like that. Or, I guess the card has started. I don't know. Boxing's always confusing to me. I feel like I guess it's about the same, but it feels like they treat, I don't know, the prelims are never as good as they are like on a UFC card. Guys that you don't really know, but I mean, you make a lot more money main eventing a card, even if you're, a mid to upperish tier. Yeah, they're still on their prelims on the Pacquiao card currently. And I saw Usyk won too. Usyk got a win over Dubois. I think it was a knockout from what I read. I'm not 100% sure. But I did see he got the dub. And then Jake Paul called him out, which was weird. I don't know if Jake Paul really thinks he stands a chance against Usyk. Thought that was kind of weird. All right, well. Looks like nothing going down, really. We will see who wins this second to last prelim. They're announcing the decision right now. Marvin Vettori and Brendan Allen go to the judges' scorecards. And Brendan Allen does get the victory. So, I mean, it looked like it between both of their faces. Definitely looked like Marvin Vettori lost that fight just based off of damage alone. And DC is going to interview Brendan Allen, which cool that DC gets to call that last fight for Dustin Poirier in New Orleans, not far from where both of those guys are from. But yeah, so one more time before I get out of here and wrap this thing up. Very excited for the fights. Excited to know your guys' thoughts and opinions, who you guys have in any of these fights. Because I do think that we are in for a very good night of fights this evening. We have one more prelim. Number 12 ranked bantamweight Kyler Phillips versus number 15 ranked bantamweight Vinicius Oliveira. We're going in the main card. Michael Johnson to fall to Daniel Zellhuber. Patricio Pitbull to get his first UFC victory over Dan Ige. Kevin Holland to make it 3 in a row over Daniel Rodriguez. Paulo Costa over Roman Kopylov. And Max Holloway, or Dustin Poirier, to get the final win of his career, take the BMF belt, and ride off into the sunset as a BMF champion. He'd be a UFC and BMF champion, which I think just him and Max, right? Or the only two that have won UFC belts on top of being BMF champions, as who we've seen. I'm trying to think. Obviously, Masvidal was the first. I think Gaethje won the BMF title before he defended it against Max, and then Max beat him for it, is what I remember. Which did I kind of think now? Thinking of, did Gaethje beat Poirier for the BMF title? Like that was like a vacant, like they just threw it on that fight. I think it was. That was back in July of 2023. I might be tripping. Doesn't look like on the UFC website they have any BMF surrounding this. But anyways, like I said, I think we're going to have a great night of fights. I'm going to get out of here and enjoy the rest of these fights tonight. They show Brandon Royval. He's got the Eddie Guerrero t-shirt on outside the cage. Man, that was a hell of a fight last month with Brandon Royval and Joshua Van, who has really made a climb up the rankings very quickly at flyweight. He's going to challenge for the belt next. So anyways, I hope you guys enjoy the fights tonight. I know I certainly will. I think we're going to have some bangers this evening. And I will see you for the next card. I might start going live on the fight nights. We'll just see how deep I get into all this stuff. But like I've been doing the last 316, 317, I'm going to try to keep on going live before these fights. As well as the football season is coming up. So right around the corner. Very excited for Chiefs football season. Just NFL in general. College football will be here before you know it here in just a couple of weeks. So let me know who you're rocking with tonight. And I will see you in the next live.